there are some requirements for hemp, and I'll go over the basic ones before I read you the quote there. But to get insurance on CBD, you have to have a minimum of 5 acres planted. On grain and fiber, you have to have 20 acres planted. One of the new requirements this year is if you direct seed, you must have 1,200 plants per acre. Sounds like a lot, but it really isn't.
Let's talk about the power of hemp. From the farm field to finished goods. Learn all about it at the 2022 Midwest iHemp Expo, May 20th through 21st at the Lansing Center. Visit MidwestIHempExpo.com. See you there. All right, I think we are connected. We are live on the iHemp Hour. I'm Dave Craybill with iHemp Michigan. iHemp Michigan's mission is to go where no man has gone before and produce some hemp products. What do you think? I was thinking about our mission. We should come up with like a Star Wars kind of thing, you know, hemp enterprise.
It's a music. Yeah, music would be good to have. I think that'd be all right.
Yeah, walk-up music, intro, so all right.
Sometimes we feel like we're definitely venturing into uncharted territories. Isn't that true? So speaking of uncharted territories, let's bring it on with Mike Brennan with the 420 post about everything over the 0.3%. What's going on there?
That would be correct. Yeah, I am not the farmer in this group here. So a little bit of news announced this week. The High Times Cup is coming back to Michigan. There's been, because of the pandemic, but it's a virtual kind of event. But the thing that they've done now is open it up to, before it was like a specialized judges, people that were, in the industry. Not this time. They're going to open it up to the public. And so it'll be the public buys these kits that have various samples in it, as it were, and they sample them and then they vote on them. So anybody that's in the cannabis space wants to make sure that, because there's going to be 3,300 judge kits, so that means 3,300 people, and 17 categories across recreational and medical products. So that would help out with the hemp community, CBD crowd. And so we'll see what happens with that. That's all that stuff starts taking place in April. You have to pick up your kids, so you have to sign up to be a judge, all that jazz. So we're still a couple of months out on that. Third thing, a couple other things I wanted to mention is we already talked about Sensi going to have their Mardi Gras party on March 1st. Blaine, and that will be a good event for iHemp to be at, because I think it's going to be huge. It's at a convention center in Lansing. I'm guessing there's going to be 400 or 500 people there, and it's a consumption party. But more importantly, I know you guys want to get plugged into the cannabis crowd, and that would be the event to begin to make that effort.
What convention center in Lansing, though? I only know of the one, and I can't imagine them alone.
It's just outside of town. It's at the, hang on, I'm going to pull this up here if I can find it. I don't have the name right in front of me, and I didn't have it. I have a little, there's Jamie Cooper did a video on my show, and so I have her talking about it, but I can't tell you right off the top of my head. Okay. I'll tell you later.
That's all right.
It's a hotel/convention center that I've seen before. It's off, what is it, 127 there. It's a little bit outside of town. It's not right downtown. They have, of course, a lot of rooms there. So we're going to book a room because we're a media sponsor. And after that event, I do not want to drive back to Ann Arbor. So another thing that came out this week was scientists are now looking at marijuana as a possible way to, I don't know what cure would not be the word, but they are using the word to at least slow Alzheimer's disease. That's something I hadn't heard of before. But so they're saying that cannabis may be one of those things, and they're looking at that real closely. And if anybody's ever been around anyone with Alzheimer's, it's a pretty nasty disease. It's essentially your brain that gets eaten up. So don't want to go there, right? And then one last thing, in fact, we're going to be rolling out our own Cannabis Academy soon, but we got beaten to the punch by Kalamazoo Valley Community College. They're going to be offering some cannabis training, one category, advanced cultivation technician. Another one would be, if I scroll up here, advanced manufacturing agent. And also just essentially your bud tender stuff, you know. And the big thing on when you go into a shop is you tell them what you're looking for, whatever whatever the thing might be. And hopefully the bud tenders understand it well enough to be able to point you in the right direction. So these are not inexpensive courses. The 3-course package is $900. Doesn't lead you to a degree. It doesn't lead you to a certificate or anything, but it does give you basic background. One of my friends, THC123, Anthony Sabatella, runs a cannabis placement firm. And what he complains to me about is he gets 1,000 resumes. But only 1 or 2 people are qualified because they think, oh, this is the business I want to be in because I smoke. Well, there's a bit more to it than that. It's still a business, and you have to understand all that stuff. And so Kalamazoo Valley Community College is offering that online. And then we'll be rolling out our own Cannabis Academy in a month or 2 here, working on it here in the first quarter. Offer similar things, but our price won't be anywhere near $900 to sign up. And then we'll be working with Anthony so that we get to he works with us to train these people, get them ready so that he can actually place them in a job. And we had, as you know, a week ago, we had Andrew Brisboe on my show, and he was saying right now there's 33,000 people employed in the cannabis industry in Michigan. Pretty big. And also, cannabis now is the 3rd biggest cash crop in the state behind soybeans and corn. So it's really taken off. He estimates this year for adult use sales and medical marijuana sales would be close to $3 billion. So it's a really rapidly growing industry. And the problem they're having right now with lots of people want to get into it, but they don't really have the training to do it. So here's some options for you. And that's it. Back to Dave.
Yeah, here there's 350 cities that have opted out still.
Oh, a lot more than that. There's like 1,800 cities in the state. I think he said there was something in the neighborhood of 120 or 130 that had opted in. And so what's that? 1,600 don't want to play in that space. And I think what'll change their mind is it's pretty big tax dollars coming to them. Each dispensary is generating about $26,000 worth of taxes for the local city, municipality. And I think that will start bringing people around. I know part of it is the old philosophical war on drugs, blah, 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 that we've heard about forever. But, it's legal in Michigan. And there are now 19 states, and there's another 8 or 9 that are going to be voting on it in November to take it legal. So we could have half of the states in the country legal by November. So, I mean, anybody that wants to get into this, certainly something to check out. But again, you got to have the right training. It's not, again, just because you may smoke it doesn't mean you know how to run the business or grow it or cultivate it or process it. And so that's what's lacking. And some folks now are stepping up trying to provide that skill training so that you can get a job in this rapidly growing industry.
Yeah, good news. All right. Blaine, what's going on over in the farming world?
Well, pretty interesting this week on something. And Mike, the hotel that they're talking about there, that is the Causeway Bay.
That's it. I knew it had some funky name like that, Causeway Bay.
We actually had the very first meeting we had the day of sign up for
the one before we got the hemp license. We did it on 4/22.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
4/22/19.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I say, talked to Jamie Cooper about getting in there. I don't know what the pricing is on that. We're a media sponsor, so we were comped, but then I'm providing her a lot of publicity. So you could probably try working that angle with her and promote it to the iHemp folks.
We've certainly reached out to her, and we're just waiting for her to reach back to us. So we haven't had, she hasn't returned us our call yet. So
and I'll ping her too for you. I talk to her every week. So
she'd like to help and be part of that situation there. So yep. Okay. So let's see what's going on. So in the farming news, the regular farming news,
down on the farm.
Down on the farms. Yeah. It's time for farmers to make their decision on their regular farm programs. They call them the PLC, the price loss program, or the ARC programs. You have until March to do that. You're going to be getting letters out from your FSA office on that, but you have time if you want to change out of that what you may have been in last year into this year. Highly unlikely currently with the prices that they are right now, and that any of those programs really have a payment. However, you may want to sign up or switch just because you might take a different risk. It depends on if you think the price is going to be low or if it's more likely you're going to have a yield problem this year. So that really would be your decision. If you've got more questions on that, reach out to me. I'll be glad to go over some of the details on those programs. So, but that's something that you need to do by March. So it's come along. And this was an interesting article that came out. Got this one out of Hemp today, but others have carried it too. FDA approves trial for CBD-based drug to treat opioid addiction. So again, we're going down this. We're finding all the time in a way these new cannabinoids are being able to help people. And so this is really exciting if we can use this in order to be able to help people get off the opioid addiction. So the trials are being done right now. Epidiolex is a THC drug that contains high levels of CBD and is the only such medicine fully approved by the FDA. And it has proven effective for treatment of very rare forms of a disorder and epilepsy in children quite a bit. So again, a lot of great research coming out, just another one. And this was great that the FDA is approving the trial for this. So we're excited to see that happen on that for sure. Some other things that are coming up. The NOCO is March 23rd and 25th. That's going to be in Denver for those of you that may want to do some traveling and go out and see that. It's certainly one of the larger shows that covers hemp. And so that's the NOCO. It actually stands for North Colorado Hemp Company. But so NOCO is March 23rd to the 23rd to the 25th in Denver, Colorado. You can search online and find more things about their speakers and what's going on there. And then the second biggest Hemp Expo, of course, is going to be the one we're going to put on, which is the Midwest iHemp Expo. And that's going to be May 20th and 21st in Lansing, Michigan. The Radisson Hotel is our hotel that we've had for choice. It's connected right to the Lansing Center. It's going to be at the event will be at the Lansing Center. And then Friday night, we'll have the Hempy Awards over at the Radisson. The day before, so the 19th of May, we'll be putting on a class for those that want to get certified or learn how to get certified with their CBD products. And Food Chain ID is going to be giving the U.S. Hemp Authority class on how to get certified for that. That's the orange HC that you see on some products. And it means that those products have been third-party audited and they're done in a manner that's safe and effective. So a lot of people want to get that seal because that shows a standard of how the product is made and safety of it. And let's see what else we got. Next week, we're going to have Amy Rausch is going to be on. We're going to talk about all the news that's going to come out regarding, or has been coming out regarding hemp being used for COVID and how that all works on that. Remember, folks, that those are trials that are going on. It's just one study. But Amy's going to help us delve into that and a lot of other topics that we're going to talk with her on. So we're excited to have her on next week.
Annie.
And excuse me, I'm getting corrected here. Annie. I always say her name. Annie.
We're looking for.
Yeah, I'm glad I have the green curtain there.
Pay no attention to the woman behind the curtain, right?
That's right. Absolutely. No, I pay a lot of attention to that, Mike.
Yeah, probably wise of you too.
I do, yes. And then the next show, February 3rd, we're going to have Seth Boone's going to be on from Panex Exchange. And they actually have a program that they're working with now and signing up farmers into the carbon credits. So this may be of real benefit for people and to be able to start getting into that program, starting to earn those credits for use later on in that. So that's kind of what we got going on right now, Dave. So,
all right, cool.
All right.
Well, let's talk some crop insurance.
All right, well,
let's introduce our guests.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure, extreme pleasure, to be able to introduce our two guests, Scott and Eric Colville from Colville Crop Insurance. Scott has been doing this for quite a while, and Eric, I think, has joined in on the family. It's a family kind of operation, and I'm going to let you guys talk about all the things you've been doing with that and how long you've been doing this. And I know that that crop insurance, I'm a crop insurance adjuster that I do for another company, and there's no doubt in my mind that many times this crop insurance has helped save the family farm for sure. Especially in 2012 when we had quite a frost freeze for fruit growers. And it's just a great product to have to be able to mitigate that risk that you have out there, because one of the things you can't control is the weather. So Scott and Eric, welcome to the show, and give us a little background of how you got into this, and Eric, why you decided to hop on board and do this. So.
Well, thanks, Blaine. Thanks everybody for having us. Yeah, my dad started doing this in the mid 1960s. And so I basically grew up around crop insurance, and I did see how it helped a lot of farmers save the family farm. And eventually, it wasn't my first career choice, but it was one of my career choices. I made the change, I think about close to 20 years ago, and started doing crop insurance, and I absolutely love it. I love being with farmers. I love helping them manage their risk. I love my new logo is helping them sleep better at night. So because the biggest thing farmers worry about is, how am I going to pay the bills if the crops don't work out? And we help them do that with the crop insurance. I just enjoy doing it. I don't see myself retiring because I love it so much. I love being with the farmers. So now I'll let Eric answer why he joined.
So why I joined is I grew up like my dad, watching him do crop insurance for a long time. But the reason why I originally joined was my first major in college was actually entrepreneurship. And I wanted to be my own boss pretty much. Well, after my freshman year, I kind of realized that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you kind of just start business. So I did change majors during college and got actually 2 majors by the end in marketing and logistics. But I decided after taking several internships at various companies that in a roundabout way, I still liked what my dad was doing. This gave me avenue to be my own boss and be a part of my family business still. So that's kind of how I, in a roundabout way, came back to crop insurance.
Yeah.
So shorter story than my dad's.
That's good. That's really good. So how long, when did you jump into the business, Eric?
Right when the pandemic started.
Good timing.
So great timing.
Yeah.
It made it a little bit easier to find a job.
Back in a past life, I was a stockbroker. My first day on the job was Black Monday. So
I'd been a stockbroker for about 2 weeks when Black Monday hit.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow. Isn't that something? Yep. Yeah.
It gets to be a small world sometimes, doesn't it?
Tough times just make you smarter, right?
That's right.
So Scott and Eric, let's talk a little bit about, crop insurance is really a lot more expansive than what people think it is, that's for sure. Of course, this show, we're going to talk quite a bit about the hemp product. So maybe, I don't know, you have a couple slides you want to show, Scott? Do you want to do that now or a little later on? Or?
I'll do it as we talk.
Okay.
When they
come up. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what variety of crops do you cover? Let's start with that.
The crops that are available vary by state and by county. The 2 biggest ones obviously are corn and soybeans. They're pretty much insurable all throughout the country. Those are the 2 biggest crops in America. In Michigan, we deal a lot with potatoes. Eric's quickly becoming an expert on the potato business. I do a lot of apples. I actually had a trade show this week on apples. It's all fruit, but apples are the biggest one, but blueberries and peaches and cherries and grapes. And in Michigan, we have counties that insure onions and others that insure sugar beets. I would
I
say
mean,
that
the
lots
state
of
of Michigan, the state of Michigan is, when it comes to crops, it's the second most diverse state behind California. So there's a lot more in this state than besides California, but anywhere else, that there's a lot more that we do have to learn than a state like Nebraska, who has very limited crops that they do grow, or Iowa. Whereas we had to learn a lot more tropical, fruits that aren't typically around a lot of states in the Midwest. So we do have to learn a lot more variety than other agents in other states.
That'd be like apples and cherries and blueberries and, all these different things that go into wine or whatever. There's a lot of stuff, right?
yes. Yep.
So if marijuana is the third largest crop, and what's
No,
the
third cash crop in terms of revenue, not maybe in volume, but
right. So third largest cash crop, and what was the number?
I don't have that on the tip of my
It was
tongue.
over
I
2
just
billion,
saw that.
wasn't it?
Yeah. What's that? Sorry again?
Over 2 billion.
Oh, yeah. And adult use sales, that's just the sales. That's just the retail level. Last year in 2021, it was 1.8. They think it's going to be closer to 3 this year, but that doesn't, there's a whole bunch of grows that are getting started in Michigan right now, both indoors and outdoors.
Yeah. But my question to Scott along that line is: so if marijuana is the third largest cash crop at a couple $1 billion, how big's the agricultural market in Michigan?
I can actually tell you that. I did not have this as a slide, but I do have a sheet. In 2020, it was 8.2 billion.
8.2 billion.
And the 3 largest were corn, soybeans, and potatoes. Now, Mike's saying that, and I don't know if the cannabis will become part of this report, but I would imagine that cannabis would overtake potatoes and become number 3.
No small potatoes
based
there.
on what he's saying.
Very good. Yeah. So
Somebody had to say it.
yeah. So yeah, and I'll have to dig that story out. I don't know if we published that story about 2 weeks ago saying
potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And there's actually, right now, crop insurance covers 4.3 million acres in the state of Michigan.
4.3 million acres. Wow.
Yeah.
See, and we're struggling to get 10, 20,000 acres of hemp.
Right.
Imagine between marijuana and hemp. There's so much being added every year.
well,
And
marijuana tends to be an indoor crop. They don't
Right.
want the cross, pollinization
There's
and
a lot
all
of
that
guys
other
growing
jazz.
outside yet. I talk to guys regularly that are still growing hundreds of acres outside.
Wow, really? Good luck with that. I mean, the MRA tests all that stuff, and boy, if you got all these bad things in it, it ain't going to get on the shelves. So
Yeah.
Well, eventually, we know that when FDA gets through everything and USA gets through everything, to be able to allow us to use the hemp grain as a livestock feed, that it will very, very quickly grow in the amount of acres that are going to be going
Right.
that. And we know that there's a lot of acres that are going for fiber this year. So it's coming, it's growing, no question about it.
Yeah, a few thousand.
I would like to think in the near future that hemp, in terms of acres planted, will eventually be number 3, and that's more based on it becoming fiber. You can use as feed. You can use CBD as part of it, but also part of carbon credits, what you were talking about earlier,
right.
that farmers can earn carbon credits back on their farm, and so it makes a farmer, for better, a more diverse industry, that it'll help the farm survive when you have more diversity on the farm.
Yeah, that's a big one. We've been talking about that, is the benefit of the carbon credits, because a lot of industries need those credits and buy the credits, and so it's one more revenue source.
Well, Scott, do you see many of the farms, the large farms, doing any type of regenerative agriculture? Is that, You know, because I hear more and more about that, studying it. It really intrigues me. But it looks like these big commercial farms, they're just like, you know, plow it and spray it, plow it and spray it.
It's not at the point where it's cost effective right now. And that's why one of the things when I decided to push really hard into the hemp industry and get involved, part of it was I could see hemp replacing a lot of the oil-based products we have, but it's not cost effective. So they haven't grown it yet. The same thing with the regenerative side, that, you know, the carbon credits right now, it is so cumbersome to get credit for what you're doing. It's not worth it to a lot of farmers. Someday in the near future, before, well, it's 2022, so before 2030, all that's going to come to a head and everything will flow smoothly, and farmers will start planting a lot more because the price points where they can make money, and it's all going to work together nicely. It's just not there today, but it's coming.
And one thing that people who are watching can research out there about regenerative crops is that hemp can be used as a rotational crop. So in farming, you need to rotate. If you're growing corn on one field, you're going to need to rotate it because it drains up nutrients in the soil, where hemp puts a lot more nutrients back into the soil and makes it a lot more fertile. So that's going to be a plus to the agriculture industry to get better yields, make better ground, and give more back into the soil to make a better overall crop, and just make the food in our country healthier, that you can use less sprays and you can put less into it because they're more like less fertilizers. When you have better ground, you don't have to use as much fertilizer. And it's just going to really help the industry as a whole when you could use as rotation.
You know, less fertilizer means less runoff into our water supplies, which means we ingest less fertilizer in our guts, you know. So yeah, I think it's important. And that regenerative ag, isn't there you have different levels? I was talking to Mark up in the Thumb where he was growing some grain, and there's up to 7 rotations, you know, depending on the level of.
Yes,
You guys familiar with
that'd be extreme, is 7, but you're normally looking at least 3 in your rotation. And I think Blaine touched on something. Michigan, we have a lot of dairy farmers in Michigan, and they need the feed. And when hemp becomes available for feed, that's why he was mentioning that we'll probably see a lot more acres planted when that gets approved for feed, because then that can become the rotation after corn, and help feed the cows, which is what they really want. They want the milk.
Excellent. Yeah, but that's probably, you know, like you say, 2030 we should be there. I certainly hope so. It seems like a long way off.
There's different kinds of yield. There's different kind of insurance available. Maybe we can touch on the different kinds there. I know we've got a yield-based one, we've got a revenue-based one, and there's also one that's just really on weather. So let's talk about those, and let's talk about how that relates to hemp growers, because I think there's some restrictions that people need to understand about getting insurance on hemp crop.
Okay. Can you share my screen?
No, but you can.
Okay.
It's on the
Hit
bottom.
green share button.
Yep.
Where is it? Share screen.
At the bottom.
Yep. Share screen. Share. Okay. What I did was Blaine mentioned that there are some requirements for hemp, and I'll go over the basic ones before I read you the quote there. But to get insurance on CBD, you have to have a minimum of 5 acres planted. On grain and fiber, you have to have 20 acres planted. One of the new requirements this year is if you direct seed, you must have 1,200 plants per acre. Sounds like a lot, but it really isn't.
No, it's not much.
No, that's easy to get to.
I could hand plant that.
Yeah. You must have a processor contract, and you have to have grown at least 1 year of hemp in order to qualify for the this insurance we're talking about, the multi-peril crop insurance offered through the government. And you also have to be licensed with the state of Michigan.
The 1 year of or the 1 year of planting that you need, it does not, it could be 0.2 acres, it could be 20 acres. You can use that first year to try to figure out how you're going to grow it and different techniques to use. So you don't really need to fully dive in the first year. There's no minimum requirements then.
Okay.
Correct.
One of the things that you touched on, Scott, and I want to make this a point because I know of a claim that happened where they didn't, where they were going to do the processing themselves, and that doesn't really work. You need to have a contract with a processor or a buyer when you put this crop in order to have correctly done all the requirements for crop insurance. So
Yes.
if you're thinking about doing it, make sure that you talk to either you have a contract for buying or you have a contract for processing, and make sure you have a signed contract available. Just want to try to drive that point home a little bit.
I think we talked about this before. One insurance you do not offer is if your crop goes hot, right? That's not available.
That is still correct. And that's where associations like iHemp and others across the country are trying to get that THC level raised from 0.03 up to 0.1. And the going hot was a big issue the first year hemp was available. Farmers have learned how to manage that much better. And so there's much fewer acres going hot in a given year. And they've some of the counties have also changed how they, in the beginning, if you had a plant go hot, you had to destroy your whole field. There are some places where you don't have to destroy everything necessarily. You can test more than once. So they've made some tweaks to the rule, but yes, the basis of your question is if it goes hot, you are not insured. It's not a cause of loss.
The reason
it seems-
why. Oh,
Go
you
ahead,
can go, Mike.
I was just going to say, I was going to make a point as an outsider. It seems that if you're going to use it for animal feed or human consumption or anything that goes in animal bodies or human bodies, I can see that. But if you're raising it for textiles or, the hemp plastic type things, why would that, it seems like that should be a carve out or something, right?
It should
Didn't
be.
mean to cut you off, Eric. So go ahead.
You're fine. Do you want to go on this point that I can circle back around?
Well, let me just throw out there that I think there's a lot of discussion because even the 1% on the farmer side isn't really totally going to eliminate risk. What we really need is final product testing. So if I'm making a Frisbee out of the hemp fiber, of course, the bank still wants a THC report on the Frisbee. It still cracks me up. But if you're making something not edible, just a durable good, there's a hemp Frisbee, right? So what's the big whip? You grow the fiber and you make your products out of it, and you shouldn't even have to spend thousands of dollars on a license. But we're not there yet. It's going to take a while.
No, and I will say this. One of the things I've mentioned, I think, to Blaine in the past is the speed with which they've created the hemp policy and expanded the hemp policy. If you haven't been in this industry for a while, you don't realize just how fast they moved on this.
Yeah.
They are glacial in how they move things along in Washington, D.C. And so for us to get what we got within a year they've never done that before with any crop. It's just incredible. It's never quick enough for the end user.
Yeah.
But from our end, it's like, wow, thank you. Now let's make it better. Let's address all these issues.
So be thankful for what we have. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I want to say be thankful, but realize that, yeah,
Exceptional.
Yep, exactly. So,
Cool.
and what I have on my screen, did you have something you wanted to add, Eric, before I went over the quote?
No, we moved past it enough.
Okay.
We're
Okay.
good.
One of the things I did is I just ran a simple quote today for Ottawa County, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
There are, if you look over here, I have what's called a BU, which means basic unit. There are many different types of, Blaine touched on yield protection, revenue protection. There are a number of different things. This is just the basics though. For fiber, this is, the prices haven't been set for this year, but the quote I ran, fiber was at 9 cents. And what you're looking at is total premium. And this is the subsidy. The government actually subsidizes all this insurance. So this would be what the final cost would be to the farmer
Can you
and how
explain
much
the
cover they
premium?
have on 100 acres of land.
So when I look at that, the total premium column and the total subsidy, is a subsidy per acre?
In this case, it'd be the subsidy on the entire 100 acres.
So you're paying $777 to potentially get $458 back?
No, you'd only be paying $319 on the if you had 100 acres, you'd be paying $319. And if you had a total loss, you get back $9,000.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So I didn't understand the total premium and the total subsidy. So that's
the total premium
that's
is
total of
if the government was not involved, you would have to pay this entire amount. But they subsidize it, so the producer premium is what you pay.
Thank you. I get it now.
And then I did the same thing with grain, which is at 55 cents. You're covering a lot more, 20,000 instead of 9,000. So the premium's a little bit higher, 757. And then when you get down to the CBD, that's at $1.22. So for $6,000, you'd have $140,000 in coverage.
Okay.
Basically, when I say we help you sleep better at night, $140,000 if you lose your entire crop, that can help pay to plan again another year. That can help pay some bills you have. That's why insurance is important. And Blaine has been in this business for a very long time. I've been in it for a long time, and we've seen people who would have been wiped out, lost everything if they did not have insurance. And the fact that the government subsidizes, just look in the bottom line here,
Yeah.
the government's paying $8,800 out of a $15,000 premium. You're only paying $6,000. Sounds like a lot, but if you don't have a crop, it can save you. And
what's the difference in the levels?
Coverage? 50% coverage, 60% coverage, 70% coverage.
Gotcha.
And that's based on in Ottawa County right now, the average yield on CBD is 1,644. So 50% coverage, you're covering half of that, so 822 pounds. At 60%, you'd be covering about 1,000 pounds. At 70%, you're 1,120 pounds or so. So that's all that is percentage. We can go from anywhere from 50 up to 85. 85 gets quite expensive though, just so you know.
Okay.
You lose some of your subsidy and it gets awfully expensive.
That last 15% is expensive, yeah.
Exactly. Because that's where the losses are. A good farmer tends to have their losses up in the 15% range, 20% range. Another quote I wanted to show you while we have the screen up is weather insurance. Blaine's talked on weather. Weather insurance, you do not have to have 1 year of growing history. And you can insure it for different amounts. I ran this quote based on coverage of $1,000. It doesn't matter whether you're growing CBD, fiber, grain, direct seeded, not direct seeded. hand planted, since Dave can plant a couple thousand tree or plants per acre by hand, he says.
I can.
Um,
Done it.
I just entered a basic $1,000 coverage. So you're covered for $1,000. And the one I did, the one I quoted here was rainfall. And the premium on this varies based on the level of coverage. I don't want to get too technical, but basically the one I did at 120% would be $168 per acre. And these lines show you which years you got paid. The green years are the years you got paid something based on that. And then there's also, if you go to, I did 140%, it changed the graph a little bit. And there are not as many years that you got paid, but the premium went way down. And you still got paid over the last, looks like 30 years. You got paid a handful of times. But this is what the weather insurance is. And I just did it on rainfall.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it on frost. You can do it lack of rain.
So-
there are a number of different products you can get for rain or for the weather. I just happen to do the rain because excess rain. And I did it at a time period of, I think it was May 1st to May 15th, which means they just track the rain during that 2-week window, which is when a lot of people start planting. And we can change that to May 15th to May 30th. You can pick dates. When are you going to plant? I can't have 5 inches of rain when I'm trying to plant because otherwise I won't be able to plant.
Yeah.
And it's a great product, especially if you want a little bit higher coverage than the government can offer, or if you don't have the ability to buy the government coverage. The only downside to this particular product is the premiums due at the beginning when you buy the insurance. The multi-peril, which was this one, these don't come due until we send out a bill at the end of September. So you have the growing season, you can pay your bill out of your profits from the farm.
Oh, cool.
So
does that cover like hail and high wind, tornadoes, things like that, or what?
this particular one, that's the multi-peril that the government offers, it covers everything.
Uh-huh.
Every weather-related event. It also covers fire, hurricanes, volcanoes. We don't have a lot of volcanoes out here.
No,
but it
I
does
think we're
cover
okay
it.
there. So,
But it also covers for insects and diseases on the plant.
Is there a certain window with that as well that you set?
This you have to buy by March 15th. And the insurance lasts until, I think the end of the insurance period is October 31st. So whenever you plant up to October 31st, you're covered in this particular product, the multi-peril. Whereas this one, you pick and choose your time period
So
based on, I'm only worried about frost in the first week of September because that's when I plan on harvesting. And we can run a quote based on frost that first week of September, wherever you live.
okay. And this, the Arbol insurance, it's not dependent on whether your crop succeeds or fails.
Correct.
Just dependent on that weather condition.
It just depends on the weather.
And do you have to have land to buy that? Looks like a pretty good gamble. You could bet on the weather, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing to do now. Is there an app for that?
Yes, you can buy weather insurance without having
Seriously.
anything in the ground. Yes.
Wow. Interesting. So, okay. I didn't expect a yes on that answer. Okay. Interesting.
We tend not to sell that, but yes, you can get insurance. You can get insurance on just about anything.
Sounds like fun. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, and then might as well do it now since we're already on the quoting stuff. Blaine mentioned that we do cover many types of crops here in the state of Michigan. And we have seems like 50 different products that are out there for cows and pigs and milk and everything else. But one of the newer products, it's been around a couple of years, but most people still don't know a lot about it. Something called SCO and ECO. SCO stands for supplemental coverage option, and ECO stands for enhanced coverage option. It's a way of buying extra insurance on your crops, basically. Well, we have a new quoting system, and this is something I'm really excited about. We can go through each farmer, wherever they are, and it only works right now for corn and soybeans, wheat, and a few other products in certain counties, but those are the three big ones. And based on the information we put in, it can tell us at this one I ran was at 60% coverage. You would not have had a loss under your normal crop insurance. But if you had supplemental coverage, you would have had these losses. In enhanced coverage, you would have these losses. These are per acre. Like you get back $89 per acre, $38 per acre. But this number right here, this net indemnity, in this particular quote I ran, I just chose Ottawa County. I live in Ottawa County, if you couldn't tell. What this is telling me is after all the insurance that you got paid for, minus how much you paid us for that insurance coverage, you have a net indemnity of $346 per acre over a period of 8 years. So if you're a 1,000-acre farmer, say you have 1,000 acres of corn, you'd have $346,000 more in your pocket today if you had had these products the last 8 years. And I know a lot of farmers who could use $346,000 in their pocket.
Yeah, that's new.
So this is something that we're really discussing. There's a lot more to it. You know, all these numbers up here mean nothing to Dave and Mike. I'm sure the Hemper has seen them before, but the projected price and volatility and yields, that doesn't mean anything. But if we sat down with a farmer and went over their individual numbers, this would all make sense to them. But I'm just excited that we can now quote people and tell them this is the product that you can make a lot of money on it based on the previous 10 years worth of history. It's never a guarantee what will happen over the next 10 years, but based on the history, they're pretty good products and can actually help farmers manage their money better.
Mm-hmm.
So farmers don't have too much longer to make decisions on this. And one of the things that I'll throw a little caveat in there, if you want to sign into the farm programs, if you want to take this supplemental coverage here, you have to be into the PLC program in order to qualify for that. You can't
Correct.
get the ARC program and do that. So just a little caveat there that if you're talking to your agent and you're talking about this and figuring out, the other thing you need to make sure of is that if you do decide to go that route, you need to be into the PLC program. So
Correct. But
So Scott, before we get too farther along here, we're going to talk about it again, but if people want to get a hold of you or Eric and have them kind of go over insurance stuff with you, how would they get a hold of you? What's the best way for them to reach you?
the best way is contacting the cell phone number, which is 616-560-8510. Or Eric's cell phone number is 616-502-9746. And then our email, we have a website, colvillecrop.com. My email address would be scott@colvillecrop.com. And Eric's would be eric@colvillecrop.com.
And give them the spelling on Colville.
Colville is spelled Colville.
All right.
Oh, no E. after L.
No. And actually, I will show
People can
you.
see their website.
There's the spelling of the last name, Colville. And don't look at these emails down here. They're different
Here.
they're for something different.
I'll share your website. How's that?
There you go. Thank you.
ColvilleCrop.com.
And they've been doing that since 1967. Did I see that?
That's when my dad started it. Yes.
Learn more, sleep better.
I love the tagline.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
And it's 19 degrees where you're at right now, Dave.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Mhm.
Well, guys, I want to thank you. Any last thing you want to throw in? We got a couple more minutes yet here, but any last thing you want to throw in so people can think about some things and think about what they need to be doing going forward here?
No, I appreciate you having us on tonight. I really believe in the hemp industry, and I think we have a great future ahead of us in hemp. All of the crops, or 90% of the crops, the row crops, need to be insured by March 15th. The
Quick
hail
question.
insurance, go ahead.
A quick question from my side of the point tree. Do you offer cannabis insurance?
I'm glad you asked that, Mike. I thought I had a company that was going to create a policy specifically for me for outdoor grown. Now, there are a number of companies that can insure it indoor.
Mhm.
I do not get involved in that at all. I never will. But outdoor grow, we could not get it put together in time for this year. They've already told me it just will not come together right now. I'm still working on that. I think part of it is, as you know, hey, Michigan hemp is legal. In the US, it's not legal. You deal with an insurance company who has insurance products throughout the country, and then it becomes, in their mind, it becomes illegal. If it's illegal in one state, it's illegal in all states from the underwriter standpoint. And so we're still trying to find a place that will do that for us. Because as you mentioned earlier, outdoor grown cannabis is
Risky.
very susceptible to a lot of diseases.
The big operations just don't do it. They're all indoors. So.
Correct. And they can get their insurance. We just don't offer that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like the outdoors. I want to be outdoors.
Well, I just want to mention too, before we get to the hemper and his recipe, Scott's also works on our finance committee for iHemp Michigan. He's been an avid supporter of what we do from day one. He helps us out with the expo. So, I can't thank you enough for everything you guys do for us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
We need all the help we can get, as you know.
So if you're shopping around, you're looking for crop insurance, whether it be for the hemp, whether it be for your fruits or vegetables, not too much fruits and vegetables so much, I guess fruit, not so much vegetables. Corn, soybeans, wheat, normal crops. Give these guys a shout. Let them talk to you, let them give you a quote.
I do want to
just
say
point out that at the beginning of this, we thought, how in the world are we going to talk about insurance for an hour? But we've done it.
Yeah.
I think we did a fine job.
Yeah.
I do want to say something, Blaine. You mentioned fruit. The fruit sales are closed on November 20th, but they just came out late December with a new product for apples that will be available in 2023. But the comment period is going on right now through February 14th, I believe.
Yeah.
And they have some exciting changes coming for the apple growers. And I don't have the email address in front of me. You can contact me through my website. And I think they were going to put something up on our website about the new program. But that's something that if you're an apple grower, definitely check it out.
Okay, cool.
How about them apples, huh? So
Yeah.
Excellent.
There.
All right, well, guys, I want to thank you very much for taking the time today and sharing all that great information. Again, if anybody is looking out there, Scott, one more time, give us the how they can get a hold of you.
You can contact me on my cell phone at 616-560-8510. Eric is 616-502-9746. And our email is scott@colvillecrop.com or eric@colvillecrop.com.
Eric,
Thank you so
how
much.
about you? You want to say anything before we close out?
I would just like to thank you guys for having us on today. It was my pleasure. I didn't know what to expect for being my first time on, but it was a good time.
Yeah, that's our goal. Yeah, and thanks for working with your dad. That's really cool that you guys can work together and have that family tradition carried on. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
You're outstanding in your field.
You sound just like my dad.
Oh, bum. Mike, you were waiting for that the whole day. I
I was waiting for timing on that, the whole
Sure.
session there. Yeah.
Perfect timing on that. All right, so I just want to remind everybody to look for great information coming out. Remember, the Midwest iHemp Expo is coming May 20th and 21st. And for those that processors and farmers that want to learn about how to get certified for the hemp seal, the U.S. Hemp Authority seal, we'll have a program on that on Thursday, May 19th at the Radisson Hotel. So
We'll talk about Friday night, the Hempies Awards. So you
Yep.
get your submissions in now.
that's going to be a blast to do that, and a great way to promote your product and let people know what you have. So
And isn't there a Colville involved in that too?
there is. I believe we're going to have one of the other sons does a little DJing on the side, and he's going to come and be our DJ for that. So
Isn't that
we're
awesome?
looking forward to a fun time for that for sure. So
And there's a rumor going around that Blaine's going to wear a tuxedo. Now, I'm just sources have told me that. I don't know if it's true or not. So,
well, we'll see.
He's got
okay.
a tuxedo T-shirt.
No, but Mike, you looked awful good on yours on night, so I may have to do that. I don't know if I can outshine you, but I might have to try. So.
Okay.
So, all right. So then again, next week we have Annie Rouse. She's going to be on. We're going to be delving into quite a bit of the the CBDA and CBGA phenomenon that's going on right now with all the news that came out about that, about how it can help with COVID. We're going to get into that, talk a little bit more detail on that, and then February 3rd, Seth Boone's going to be on talking about carbon credits and the program that Panex Exchange has going on. So 2 great shows coming up in the next week. So with that, got the hat. So we're putting the hat on. Got to have the hat, they told me. So this week we're talking about roasted sweet potatoes with apricots and curried hemp seed.
Ooh.
This luscious sweet side dish is warming to the body, satisfying, rich, and good for us. We got this from the Hemp Nut Cookbook is where we got it from. Pretty easy recipe. I like things pretty easy. This particular recipe will make about 4 to 6 servings. And I have to thank my my chefs today that helped prepare this, Becky and Andrea. So I want to thank them for that.
Yay.
All right.
Let's
So-
see it.
Yep, here we go, guys. We don't have smell-o-vision.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Isn't that nice? And how that's presented and everything else.
Yes.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Man. We need,
So this recipe is you get 4 to 6 garnet or jewel sweet potatoes. You cut them into large chunks. 6 to 8 dried apricots. They're cut in half. Use some hemp seed oil. 4 to 6 tablespoons zest of lemons. A sprinkle of sea salt. A tablespoon of curry powder. Half a cup of shelled hemp seeds. And 2 to 3 sprigs of fresh parsley minced. And you preheat the oven to 365, and you can read the rest of it there. It's pretty simple. Super simple, and super good. And if you don't know where to get that hemp seed oil, you can let me know, and we'll be able to supply that hemp with the Emperor hemp seed oil for sure. So, yeah.
excellent. We need smell-o-vision or something.
We do. Smell-o-vision and taste-o-vision is what we need. But I'll go over one last.
That's coming.
So we've upped the game. There we go.
Beautiful.
Told you I would be doing that. So, yep.
Good work. Good work.
Well, then we have this recipe and a lot of recipes on the website that you can use with hemp and hemp-related products. So
Now that we've got the full screen, raise that up one more time, because before it was pretty small.
Well, here, let me spotlight you here.
okay, got me there.
Oh yeah,
There
look
we
at
go.
that. Mm.
And you can see
The green parsley
picking
is.
up the green screen. That's pretty interesting.
There's full screen there.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody again. Again, if you need to talk about crop insurance, we've got 2 great guys here, Scott and Eric, that can help you out. We'll work you through that. And next week we'll be glad to see you back here again. So thanks everybody.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Scott. Good to see you, Mike and Blaine.
Okay, next week.